Former Vanderbilt quarterback Mo Hasan said that he once was approached by members of the Italian mafia and offered a lump sum of money to throw games during his playing days in the SEC. Now, this is great. He says he was approached at Jason Aldean's bar in Nashville by the Italian mob to fix football games. And he said this on the Momentum podcast, apparently back in February. And he has also said that while he was separated from his friend group, a man who knew who he was approached him at the bar and offered him $300,000 to throw football games, while implying he already had similar arrangements with Alabama players.
They're like, that is total bullshit.
Okay, I don't believe that. I'm sorry, I don't believe that. I mean, it's a good story. Do you believe that's happening? That the mob? Am I being completely naive to think the mob is smarter than to approach a player at a bar and talk about other players that he's dealing with, other teams that he's dealing with? That doesn't hold water to me. I'll just be real honest with you.
So there's a couple of reasons I don't believe it. One, Mo Hasan was a backup quarterback at Vanderbilt. If the Italian mob, there is no way the Italian mob is offering a backup quarterback at Vanderbilt $300,000 to throw a game. Vanderbilt's losing games anyway.
Right. And the Italian mob guy goes, hey there, what do you think about, I don't know, maybe dropping an extra point or two? Or maybe, when you got the hold coming for a field goal, maybe you go laces out or laces in.
Now,
what's Hasan doing as a backup quarterback?
He also transferred to USC after 2 years at Vanderbilt, funny enough. But here's where theoretically, okay, we're making fun of it because Vanderbilt loses all the time, so you don't need to offer money. But Vanderbilt plays like 3 or 4 games a year that they could win, where the spread is a certain way. So, I mean, let's talk like his first year at Vanderbilt, they were 6-7. They went to a bowl. They beat Jeremy Pruitt in Tennessee that year by 25 points. And so, I mean, they beat Middle Tennessee, Nevada, Tennessee State, Tennessee. Oh, they just ran the table in the state of Tennessee, basically. Arkansas, Ole Miss. The reason I'm bringing this up is that what if he's being offered money, not just to maybe he's the holder and he's being offered money to mess up a hold, but what if he's just being offered money to give the playbook to opposing teams? That could be a way of throwing games.
Well,
giving away the playbook.
I mean, that's happened with Faxgate. Is that before your time?
I know Faxgate with Ron Zook in Florida and Tennessee. Yep.
I mean, that is not outside the realm of possibility, and that was before money was involved. Ron Zook just did it because he was a goofball.
Well, and he took it. Who could blame Ron Zook for taking it? Like, he got the free playbook. Yeah, it's whoever. Well, and also we know this. Former Tennessee offensive coordinator Dave Clawson, when he was at Wake Forest, he had an assistant that was giving his playbook to, I believe, Bobby Petrino when Wake Forest played Louisville one year. And, the only reason I believe it was happening is because Bobby Petrino is probably the most known liar in the history of liars in college football. So if he says it didn't happen, I think it did. And so, I mean, could this have... But, okay, this sounds crazy, but let's talk about some theories real quick. Dave. Yes, the Italian mob you would think is smarter, but I covered crime at a local newspaper. I can tell you guys, most criminals aren't the Riddler or the Joker. Most of them ain't that bright. Is that fair to say? Most of them do stupid stuff to get themselves caught.
Yeah, I don't think most people are that bright, but anyway.
Yes, exactly. So I'm not saying the Italian mob is not a little smarter, but maybe they aren't as adept or in tune to college football as they think. So they just try to get involved in it and don't even realize that, like, the person they're targeting, they don't have to pay to throw the game anyway.
I still believe we're going to have a major gambling scandal at some point because it's too easy to have an app on your phone and make bets, and now the players have money. I think they could then get in the hole. Maybe you've blown your money, your NIL money, and you go to win it all back, but you don't have any cash to run on an app. So you find this bookie, and then suddenly you're indebted to the mob. I still believe that's going to happen. And I believe that from the time the entire gambling system changed to where it was legalized has been about how long, Caleb?
5 years, not even, if that.
Okay. I've often thought within 5 to 7 years, there will be a major gambling scandal. And it's kind of like the marijuana thing. Marijuana is legal in a lot of places. Well, there were a lot of bumps in the road to get there. I think there are going to be bumps in the road still with this, with legalized gambling. I believe that's coming. And I believe somebody is going to either get themselves in the hole, or they're just going to say, hey, I can make a ton of money if not only I throw a game and this guy pays me, or I point shave and this guy pays me $100,000, but I can go gamble on myself too. I mean, what about that? What about you call your cousin? How hard is that? And say, hey, buddy, we haven't talked in a while since Thanksgiving, I guess, but I'm going to go ahead and play really poor defense against Kentucky this weekend and miss a bunch of shots, but we're still going to try to win, but we may not. So go ahead and bet on Kentucky, who's favored by 16.
This is exactly what Temple was accused of last week in basketball. They've been accused of throwing games betting, and basically, and the only reason no one's paying attention is because they're horrible, and so people don't think it's impacting the sport. I don't think it's crazy. And by the way, it's funny because I just pointed out point shaving is a federal crime, so you can't just throw a game gambling with. If you get caught, you do get federally prosecuted. I think they need to update the federal laws to say this: even if you bet on yourself to win, I still think that should be considered point shaving. And I know people will get mad at Matt.
No, I'm not mad at you. Nobody should get. I totally agree. That's the Pete Rose situation.
Yeah, exactly. When people defend Pete Rose, like, oh, he bet on his team to win every time. I'm like, you're still skewing the odds when you bet on your team and you're making sacrificial decisions long term. By i.e., what did he do? Like, what, Pete Rose bringing in a pitcher to win a game that shouldn't be pitching that day? And I mean, you're going to see that.
You could throw a guy in July or June to win a game that really you need to keep his arm fresh for the playoffs, right? But you've got money on the game, so hey, let's go ahead and send him out there. Send Cole Jarrett out there to close a game. Let's do that. If it hasn't happened before, it's going to happen. City Heating and Air Conditioning, 50 years in East Tennessee. Integrity matters. Don't trust a fly-by-night HVAC company to tell you that you need a new unit that could cost thousands or more. Go to cityheatandair.com, cityheatandair.com. Hey, by the way, support our sponsors. That's why we're here. And we only bring you the sponsors that we believe in. And that's why we have built this community in terms of, hey, we do our research. We work with great people. So support our sponsors. That's why we're here. Elias says people are frequently dumb. People are frequently dumb. That happens. And what was Colton's comment on? Oh, maybe Butch Jones was throwing the Florida game when he didn't go for 2 and blamed it on the analytics.
I mean,
coach most likely to throw a game that you've ever seen of all times.
I mean, sometimes, like, again, when I talked about covering crimes, I used to think people wanted to get caught a lot of times, but then I'm like, no, they're just that dumb. No, Butch Jones is just that dumb, Colton. Like, he was so stupid, you thought he was throwing the Florida game because he said analytics told us to go for 1. They scored a touchdown to go up 26-14 in the fourth quarter. What analytics said you go for 1 in that situation?
No good ones.